Slip hii leo Ijumaa tarehe 13 mwezi wa 12 mwezi wa Disemba mwaka 2024 kunradhi. Kuna mambo matatu ambayo mimi bado yananigonga akilini. Uchaguzi wa shirikisho la soka nchini FKF ambapo kuna change of guard, alafu Engin Firat akafunganya na kuondoka hapa nchini, na Manchester City's downwards trend continues. Kwa hivyo nina wenzangu tu, wanahabari wenzangu ambao tutatoa taka baadhi ya masala ambayo yamegonga vichwa vya habari vya michezo nje na ndani ya mipaka ya Kenya. Waona hizi jezi mbili ni mechi babu kubwa, Manchester City kwa nyumbani dhidi ya Manchester United. Yani punda afya lakini mzigo ufike. Modo wa Mrima, mambo vipi?
Habari yako Hassan?
Niko poa, niko sawa, niko vizuri.
Hata mimi niko poa.
Leo ulikuwa wapi? Maeneo gani? Nasikia kulikuwa na graduation
kulikuwa na graduation kadhaa. You are graduating. Huyu jamaa unajua nikiingia hapa ameongea maneno ya punda milia. Sijui imetoka wapi. Lakini
colors za punda milia.
It's understandable. So, ongea tu ikutoke. No, you are allowing him to attack me. No, it's not an attack. It's what you put on. It's a
no.
No, you cannot be saying niko punda milia. Anyway, nilikuwa pale today I attended a graduation ceremony pale Kenyatta University. Yes, my sister Irene Waithera was graduating.
Congratulations to her.
Yes,
on her graduation.
First class honors, Bachelor of Economics.
Yes.
At the first class honors.
Yes. Na ulipata?
Stevie Rogers. Tunazungumza maneno ya nini?
Oh.
Hata mimi
Mkurima.
Rogers Stevie, man, how are you doing?
Alifanya agriculture lakini ndio sema.
Lakini zinafanya maisha kilimo. Kwa radio maisha.
Stevie, how are you doing? How was your week?
I'm well. A week full of mixed fortunes, but that's football. New era. Some guys packing the bags. Let's wait and see how they're gonna pan out in the next few weeks or months.
Cedric Musumba, good to have you back.
Thank you.
We've been away for almost 2 weeks.
Unceremonious break.
Yes.
That actually caught us unaware. And it's good that we are back. And I think we are back with a bang. With a host of all sorts of soccer avenues and events happening around us. And I think we are here to start breaking it down as it happened, maybe to our viewers.
Yes, of course, gentlemen, I want us to take a look at what has happened throughout the week. And because there's a lot that we will be talking about before we give you our sleeps for this weekend, our predictions for this weekend. Let's begin with CHAN. Yes, the CS for Sports, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, said that Kenya is ready to host CHAN. And don't take a look at what people are talking about or CHAN on social media, but Kenya is ready. We will be ready by 31st of December. We will be ready to host CHAN. Now, aside from that, new FKF president, that is Hussein Mohammed, took over office, and this week he's been running up and down. Of course, Engin Firat resigned. That is something that we'll also briefly talk about in the show. Aside from this, of course, Manchester City has been having a woeful month. They lost to Juventus in the Champions League. 2-0 was the final score in that match. Now, aside from Manchester City, we have Tottenham. They've had a winless streak for long. Yesterday in the Champions League, they settled for a 1-1 draw against Rangers, which a result which makes their coach, that is Ange Postecoglou, question his players and their mentality. Aside from that, we also have Manchester United. Yes, Noah said Manchester City has some grit. Manchester United has some pedigree. Some pedigree. Oh. Yes, Manchester United, some pedigree in it. Mo Salah was named the APL Player of the Month. Of course, he's been on a fine scoring form. Aside from that, the manager, that is Arne Slot, Manager of the Month. And of course, we have the big game of the weekend in Italy. Lazio will be taking on Inter Milan. And of course, in the Premier League, it will be the Manchester derby. Manchester City at home at the Etihad Stadium taking on Manchester United. Very, very interesting. Now, gentlemen, Hassan, there's something that I want us to talk about, and this is CHAN 2025, which will be held in February. And let me begin with you, Eshtemi. Do you feel we are prepared to host this? Are we ready? Or we are just beating about the bush, just wasting time, and then when it gets to 2025, that slot goes to another country?
I think it's a really acid test for us, and it is somewhere I can term it maybe self-inflicted, because this is not something that has come as an emergency to us. We knew it long time ago. That was September last year when Kenya won the co-hosting rights with Tanzania and Uganda. And that should have been a preparation lane for them. They should have known that indeed we have time to do this and this, and maybe try to move things faster so that it can be caught in the same scenario we have been in the last two situations. That is in 1996 when Kenya lost AFCON to South Africa, and then 2018 when Kenya lost the chance to Morocco. Those things we need to have learned about. But you know, Kenyans, we always like doing things the reverse way and maybe trying to create a scenario, a situation, and try to avoid it. But right now, it's so difficult that we don't know what CAF will do, because CAF have been lenient enough with us. They have given us more time. Compared to Uganda and Tanzania, what is happening there, they are already ready. But now, chance could be maybe this tournament could be heading to Rwanda, but it's not yet confirmed, because as far as I'm concerned, CAF needs to give an offer to Rwanda. That's something that has not happened. But now Kenya still have more time until 31st. And that actually they need a miracle for it to happen. But based on what the research I've done and also the information I've gotten from different sources, indeed they're banking on Nyayo Stadium, because for Nyayo they need a few things to clear up here and there, including the upgrading the grass and then the dressing room and partially maybe the lighting. Those are some of the key things they need to work very fast. And you know, interestingly, about this entire scenario is that indeed they need a budget of probably 3 billion Kenya shillings for them to achieve this in the next 1 month or so, for them to maybe be prepared in Nyayo Stadium, Kasarani, and maybe the 3 or 4 training venues. That's something.
This week, the LOC was unveiled. The CHAN AFCON LOC.
Now that we are there, yes, can we listen to what the CS say? The CS for Sports, Kipchumba Murkomen, speaking about if Kenya will meet the deadline of CHAN, to host CHAN rather.
We have already told Kenyans we'll do CHAN. So it must be delivered. Yeah, it must be delivered. There's no other way. Whether you travel, whether you have to send a plane to bring some of the materials from wherever it is, it comes here. We have said we will do everything in the books, everything, to make sure that we host a CHAN here.
We have our work cut for us. There's so much to be done. There's very little time. The expectations are through the roof. But I know we have an able team. We'll even form a stronger team moving forward.
We are behind the schedule. But I am glad our PS has made a commitment, and the Secretary of the Sports Development Fund, that we'll do all we can to ensure that we deliver CHAN and a better AFCON.
Gentlemen, I listened to the CS, Kipchumba Murkomen, listened to Nicholas Musonye, the new president of FKF. I mean, look at the body language, guys. I think we are fixated on AFCON and not CHAN. We had all this time. I have a feeling that CAF may not have communicated publicly, but I'm sure they had whispered something to Rwanda. Guys, just be on the standby, because these other guys, I don't think they'll be ready. I mean, how many we have like weeks to the championship.
What do you have to say about that?
No, all this, regardless of the days that are remaining before even we host this particular channel for let me say, Africa continent, I think it revolves around resources in terms of monetary value. As Eshtemi said here, if 3 billion is what is needed, then you need actually to double up your effort. That means you work day and night, so that at least you balloon the remaining 15 days to 1 month. And then day and night, it means that each and every day, maybe like after every 3 days, you quantify which stride have you made in that particular? And if you go like the floodlights, this is something that can be erected in a week. And if I told that they can get all these the engineers actually specifically handling separate jobs, and they work overnight with the resources that are required, they can still attain that particular, because Nyayo is already there. The only thing that is just needed is to erect maybe the floodlights and maybe fix some few things here and there. And I'm been questioning myself, why is it that Nyayo was actually closed for renovation? Because all along, according to me, things that CAF and FIFA were highlighting to be renovated, things that can be done within a month or 3 months, provided money is around. So as right now, only to realize that, oh, Kasarani is far reach from us, now we can fall back to Nyayo. This is something that they would have fixed. And if that is the question that each and everyone, including me, they ask themselves, now present the question of, are we really ready? Because if it does something that we could have achieved, we could have put it behind us right now. It's not a subject of a question of us discussing in 15 days that we'll be hosting this. And remember also, we are ushering ourselves into a festive season. Most of guys will so much lazy focus to other things occupy their space rather than preparing maybe a stadia for Chan. Chan will only come to the fore of the mind of Kenyans after this festive season, so when people started thinking about it. So it presents a question of somehow difficulties of us attaining it comes to 31st of this December.
Says that hata kama ni kutumia ndege. So my question is he not assuring that that we are going to have it? If we don't have it, then we have to question him.
Well, now
the reality is
just a moment. Now that you've said so, Kevin, can we have that cartoon where the cartoon for the day? Of course, this is Gabs, and this is what he you know, this is the cartoon.
This is the CS.
Yes.
We don't know it's football slip.
I don't know if it's CS, but it says even if it means importing the stadiums to host tournaments, we'll do it.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah. You know, for other facilities, the amenities we have them.
Yes.
But what about the stadium? That is the key thing for us to host AFCON and Chan. But are we going to import it overnight? For bring it either to Nyayo, Kasarani, Talanta, or Kipchoge, Keino? It can't work. We need to blame ourselves for where we are right now, and specifically the leadership. That
how many stadiums do we need to have to host Chan?
Chan, absolutely.
At least two.
At least two.
So,
but one is okay.
Yeah, Nyayo can be ready, I believe.
Because we are co-hosting. That's what we need actually to bear in mind.
Co-hosting.
And co-hosting means maybe two, one for warm-up, next to whatever stadium that we'll have chosen, just next to it, just for warm-up, and maybe for training for team before they travel for the real stadium.
I think we can give the government a benefit of doubt.
Is there government goodwill?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think there is that goodwill to have to host Chan, because this is what will give that confidence that we are ready to host AFCON. And I believe that especially the president is keen to have AFCON in 2027.
That is a flagship project for him.
Exactly.
And you know, it is one of the legacy he'll have to leave behind. I understand also it will almost be nearing the electioneering period. So he really needs to work hard to ensure that indeed all these facilities are ready and in good time, so that he can at least tell Kenyans, this is what I achieved.
Rwanda is waiting. I mean, we saw what happened today. They're bidding to host
F1
Formula 1. So it's huge.
Election in 2027 in Rwanda.
But you know, it's developing sports. It's developing sports. Sorry, I cut you.
Before Malizia Sedo, I had the cabinet secretary for sports, Murkomen, say that if there is any sport in this country that has received massive support, it's football. Yes. So definitely that's the reason I'm saying maybe
on the pitch.
Maybe it's
story for another day. Story for another day. We are managing time. So this is our sleep for this weekend. Let's take a look at the weekend sleep. The 10 fixtures that we have on the cards. Kenya Police will be in action against Gor Mahia. Shabana will be taking on KCB. Tusker will be in action against Bidco United. Wolves will be taking on Ipswich. Manchester City will be at home against Manchester United. Augsburg take on Bayer Leverkusen. Leipzig host Frankfurt. Lazio take on Inter Milan. Alaves will be facing Bilbao. Bilbao and Villarreal will be cards. Kenya Police will be in action against Gor Mahia. Shabana will be taking on KCB. Tusker will be in action against Bidco United. Wolves will be taking on Ipswich. Manchester City will be at home against Manchester United. Augsburg take on Bayer Leverkusen. Leipzig host Frankfurt. Lazio take on Inter Milan. Alaves will be facing Bilbao and Villarreal will be taking on Real Betis. That is the weekend sleep. But remember, the second part of the show will be giving you our predictions. Now, let's move away from that. Let's get into FIFA Pro 11. Sedo, I want to begin there with you. FIFA Pro 11. These are 11 of the best players in the world. So let me quickly run through, and then the gentlemen will be giving me their thoughts on whether those players deserve to be there. In goal is Ederson. In defense, you have Carvajal, Rudiger, and Van Dijk. Then in midfield, Kevin De Bruyne, Rodri, Kroos, Toni Kroos, and Bellingham. Then in attack, you have Mbappe, Haaland, and Vinicius Jr. Cedric, tuanze.
I've no doubt about the squad because it actually presents host of one of the best players that we have ever seen in the last season. That is in more so predominantly in Europe.
Yes.
The only question I might just have a question that if soccer only revolves around Europe, because we have seen the likes of Mitrovic actually coming out in Asia, Saudi Arabia, the top scorer, but it's not necessarily featuring here. Same to say in South America, regardless that we don't necessarily actually have an avenue of watching their matches, but when they come to World Cup, they actually show us dust, which means it's equally presenting some of the key players that should be actually featuring here. We talk about the world. Our world has been reduced into a global village. We need actually to be having this player from this separate. I remember at some point when it was in Zambia when a player came out and said that people talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. I've also scored several scissors, but it does not actually come to the limelight. This is a thing that if you want actually to grow football all together, moving together, as I remember, Morocco has been given World Cup
2030.
The 2030. These are the aspects we need to start seeing. Odamone Lukman in this particular squad, he's actually has had a bright kind of season in if I say in Atlanta. At some point, actually, he was a nominee of Ballon d'Or. You can't come here and tell me that he's not a kind of a player who can maybe, let me say, literally replace one of the front three. Yes. He can as well as feature there and make a formidable kind of team that can really host any other squad. So as to say, it's a squad, if you go by how they are performed, they are okay, but there are so many players that I feel like they would have
deserved to be here.
If you go by the kind of goalkeepers who would have, let's say, dispossessed him, yes. The likes of, if I may, Couture, they were injured. Yes. At that particular time, we have some of the brilliant kind of young...
Lunin was better. Lunin had a better season.
He was better, but I think Lunin could not actually have really featured here to the mere fact that he did not feature into the final. You remember that? And that actually, we can also aside not blame to the coach. But if we would have been maybe in final and ended up winning it with Real Madrid, then now the question would have come up and popular started asking, why is it missing here? And it is a Champions League winner.
Eshtemi. Haaland, he's here. And when you take a look at some of the players here, they were very vital for their teams at Euro 2024. But this guy was not there. But he's still here because of the goals he scored for his club and country, despite of them not being at Euros.
Absolutely. I think he had a good season with Man City, and it is because of him. That's why Man City managed to win their fourth English Premier League title in a row. That's historic, and he was just scoring these goals for fans and beating his own records. And looking at a typical number 9, that's natural number 9. Haaland is the person to be there. Now comparing him maybe with Mbappe, Mbappe had a very, he was blowing cold and hot, and if I was the person who was trying to choose that squad, definitely Mbappe wouldn't do that.
21,000 players voted.
Of course, and it's all about marketing. Let's go also on the marketing aspect of the game, because most of these people are voting about trying to commercialize football and most of marketing the game. But what Cedric has spoken about, maybe Lukman will have been there, so that maybe they balance the equation maybe from each continent to another. But now, for them looking at the brand of the player and what he can bring to FIFA and FIFA Pro themselves, it's so big for Mbappe. So definitely I see it. I think it was put there basically for the marketing and branding side of it.
To Amurima. Rodri, best player in the world, that is according to Ballon d'Or. He's the Ballon d'Or winner, is here, and another contender, Vinicius Jr. is here.
I think him winning that Ballon d'Or, I think that's the reason he's actually there. But
he
I
was the
feel
best player at the Euros.
I agree,
Yes.
but I think also he deserves to be there.
Yes.
Look at what is happening to Man City right now, because he's not there. Look at the games that Man City have won when he's around, and the number of games they've lost since he left, and he will not be there for the rest of this season. So he is a critical guy in Manchester City. And then Vinicius Junior, from the word go, most people thought he was going to win that.
Yes.
So definitely, if he was left out again, it would show that there is a problem. But I want to agree with Sedo and also Shtemi. In fact, when I saw the players, I thought of there are more players who should
Well
be here.
deserved.
We have actually concentrated a lot on Europe, but of course we have Van Dijk from
Yes, Toni Kroos is here, but he retired.
He retired,
so, which is basically because of last season.
Exactly. So he mentioned Lookman. I think he has done good, and at least would have someone.
Are you saying that in black and white?
Not really, not really, because he talks about most of the players being from Europe, as much as we have one or two from other continents.
Yeah.
But Africa, most of the time we are left out in some of these kind of...
Do you believe that probably next year, Mo Salah will be here?
I want to believe so. In fact, right now, he's unstoppable.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he should be there next year. If he's left out, then I think they'll have an issue with Africa.
Yes, briefly say
Just
that.
for a minute.
Yes.
Look at this.
Yes.
Laporte. He actually trades at in Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
But coming back to Spain, he was a cog at the centre back of that particular team. Actually carried that team to Euro final and ended winning.
Yes.
And even right now, when Real Madrid actually presented some host of injury at the
want
defense,
him back.
they were looking for him.
to come
That
to Spain.
shows you that the Saudi Arabian players and those players who went to Arabia, they have elevated that league. And that league is an stature to compete with the European League. How comes? No, any single player from that particular league is featuring here. That's an Asia bit of it.
Yes.
In Africa, as we have said, we also have our own like Lookman. Though he plays in Europe, he was not featured anywhere. The only continent that I have seen it maybe is South America, but there are only 2 players from that South America. But when this team actually meets at the World Cup level, you will see a host of these South American players, whom even we don't know their name, coming here and challenging these European, the so-called European powerhouses, league pro players.
Yes.
And this literally tells me that FIFA is not out to sell the global football soccer arena. It's actually focused on some particular league, and as Chitemi says here, with one intention: marketing themselves and making money out of it, which is a bad way of actually managing soccer as it is across the globe.
Shtemi, in 10 seconds before we go for a break, Saudi Arabia is set to host 2034 World Cup.
I think the rating was in the wall because they've been trying to bring the best player from other leagues into their zone, and that's the one way of trying to maybe to see, can we do this? Can this player adapt to the temperature, to the environment you have? They have done so, and they think they have done well, and that's courtesy also of Cristiano Ronaldo. So Cristiano has been the ambassador, and right now they are winning it. And I know FIFA are just doing this because they know one of the best players is already playing Saudi Arabia.
Yes, so we take a short break. When we come back, we'll be giving you our predictions for this weekend. Yes, and the man in black and white says he's giving you the best predictions for the weekend. I don't know. If you believe him, it's all up to you. Hassan Juma will also be giving us his best prediction. Remember, he had started, gaining some momentum when it comes to the number of games won over the weekend, but we took a break. I'm not sure if he also took a break, but we'll get to see which teams he selected that will win this weekend. That will be after the break.